When you're traveling internationally, staying connected usually isn't the exciting part you plan around. And data is something you rely on constantly, whether it's for navigation, messages, bookings, so it actually needs to work the moment you land. And that's where international eSIMs come in. I personally have used Saily over the past couple of years and have had amazing experiences. So in today's video, I'll walk you through everything you need to know about Saily, how it works, its key features, plans and pricing, and a few pros and cons. So by the end, you'll know whether it's the right fit for your travels. Alright, Saily is a digital eSIM service built by Nord Security, which is the same company behind NordVPN, and that background matters because it shows up in how the service is designed. The idea is pretty straightforward. You get mobile data in 200 countries without needing a physical SIM card. But where Saily stands out is that it doesn't stop at just getting you connected. There's also an emphasis on keeping that connection more secure while traveling, especially when you're relying on public or unfamiliar networks. Now, getting started with Saily is pretty straightforward. Everything runs through the app. You download it on your phone, pick where you're going, choose how much data you want, and install the eSIM. That's really it. There's no physical SIM card, and you don't have to swap anything in and out of your phone. One thing that's genuinely useful is that you only install the eSIM once. After that, you can keep using the same one for future trips and just add new destinations or data when you need it. I will say though, it is a good idea to activate it while you're still back at home and have a good internet connection, so that way once you land, it just automatically connects to the local network. I actually learned that the hard way in one of my first trips. I forgot to set it up before leaving, and by the time I got to the airport, I was dealing with spotty Wi-Fi and trying to get everything installed on the go. Since then, I just install it before the flight, and it kicks in as soon as I land. No SIM swaps, and no extra steps. Just working data when I need it. Now, in terms of the cost, Saily keeps things pretty simple. You're basically choosing based on how much data you'll need and where you're headed, whether that's a short trip in one place or something longer across multiple countries. Pricing depends on the destination, but in a lot of popular destinations, it starts pretty low. Places like Japan, India, and Australia come in at just under $4. Other areas like parts of the Caribbean are a bit more, but still far less than what you'd normally pay with roaming. And you don't have to deal with finding a SIM once you land. They also offer regional plans that cover entire areas, like Europe or Asia, so you're not switching plans every time you cross a border. It's just one plan that works across multiple countries, which makes things much easier if you're moving around. And everything is prepaid. You pay for the data that you need. There are no renewals, no contracts, and nothing continuing in the background after your trip. Oh, and the app also gives you a heads up. When you've used about 80% of your data, it just makes it easier to stay ahead of things without checking it constantly. And if you decide Saily makes sense for your trip, I do have a 15% off discount code that you can use. Just use the code GVUTech at checkout when downloading the Saily app or visiting Saily's website. Now, one area where Saily stands out is what's happening in the background while using it. Since it's built by the same team behind NordVPN, there is a bit more attention paid to privacy and security than you usually see with other eSIMs. That shows up in a few practical ways. For starters, there's an ad blocker built in, which cuts down on pop-ups and tracking across websites. Pages tend to load faster, and you're not seeing ads follow you around after looking something up once. There's also web protection that blocks known dangerous websites before they load. This is especially useful when you're on public Wi-Fi at places like airports or cafes, where you're more likely to be logging into accounts or booking things on unfamiliar networks. And then there's virtual location routing, which masks your real IP address in a similar way to a lightweight VPN. It's helpful if you want an extra layer of privacy or need access to content that's restricted in the country you're visiting. I used it on multiple trips to access content from back at home, and it worked without needing any extra setup. The nice part is that none of these features require extra apps or constant tweaking. They just work quietly in the background, which makes using your phone abroad feel a bit more comfortable without having to think about security every time you connect. Now, when it comes to day-to-day use, Saily has been solid. The connections are generally fast enough for everything you'd normally do while traveling. Things like maps, messaging, browsing, streaming, and booking on the go. Speeds can go up to around 100 megabits per second depending on the country and local network, but more importantly, it feels consistent. Pages load quickly, apps respond the way you expect, and you're not constantly waiting for things to catch up when you're moving between places. But what really stood out to me is how stable the connection feels across different countries. You're not having to deal with airplane mode or reconnect every time you move around. Another thing is their support. Saily has 24/7 live chat built right into the app, which is helpful if something doesn't work the way you expect it while traveling. When you're in a different time zone, being able to get help right away makes a big difference. But like any service, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. First, Saily is data only, so if you still make regular phone calls or send SMS texts, you'll want to use apps like WhatsApp or Telegram instead. That's already how a lot of people communicate while traveling, but it's still something to be aware of. You'll also want to make sure that your phone supports eSIMs. Most newer phones do, but it's worth double checking before your trip. Saily does have a compatibility checker in the app, which takes a minute to run and can save you from finding out too late. So here's the big picture. If you're someone who travels internationally and just wants mobile data to work without thinking about it, Saily is a great option. I've tested a lot of travel eSIMs over the years, and this is the one I keep coming back to. It's built around being set up once, used across trips, and managed quietly in the background while you're traveling. I mean, think about it. You're traveling and you're relying on your phone throughout the day and don't want connectivity to become another thing to manage. You're not dealing with roaming, you're not searching for SIM cards, and you're not guessing whether things will work once you land. It's not trying to replace your regular phone plan, and it's not doing anything flashy. And again, if Saily sounds like it might be a good option for you, you can use my code GVUTech at checkout to get 15% off of your plan. So hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, a thumbs up is always appreciated. And of course, if you've got any questions about using eSIMs for travel, feel free to leave those down in the comments. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, safe travels, and I'll see you in the next one.